Hi, I'm Igor Mateski. This is my story of how I started WebMaxFormance from a broken laptop and a $13 PDF.
So WebMaxFormance provides turnkey, done-for-you services. And can you take a potential client through the process if somebody presses the launch button and sets WebMaxFormance loose on their website and on their digital presence?
Yeah, it will be 3 key stages, and each stage is going to have its own processes actually. And the first phase is going to be a diagnostic phase where we take a look at where your website is and where you want it to be. The next step is going to be the prescriptive phase, which is basically going to be, we know where you want to go, this is how how to get there. And then the final stage is going to be the execution phase, where we know where we want to go, we know how to get there, and we're actually walking the walk. And if I can expand on those, the diagnostic phase as online marketing is really a numbers game. In the diagnostic phase, we look at the numbers. So we take your website and we quantify where it is in terms of traffic, in terms of ranking potential, in terms of conversion potential as well, and that's our baseline for the website. For your website. Then we take a look at the competition, and we basically set another baseline of the competition, where we look usually at 5 competitive websites that are competing against you and are the best in the business for organic ranking, and we say this is the quantified requirements that your websites need to fulfill, plus 10%, at least 10%, so that your website could outrank the best. That's going to be our diagnostics. And then moving on to the prescriptive phase is going to be, okay, so we know where we are numbers-wise, we know where we need to go numbers-wise. How do we make the two together, and how do we plot a journey that's going to take your website from page 5 on Google that gets no conversions, that gets very little traffic, up to this point of having X amounts of conversions per month, that's going to have X amount of traffic per month, and then it's going to be cutting down that journey into actionable small steps, which is then the final stage of execution, where we're going to say, okay, so if we have this trajectory to go in the next 12 months, usually we try to do the deals for a 12-month period, because pushing a website from a page 5 to a page 1 requires a lot of time and a lot of work. So when we say, okay, we have this goal to reach, we have this amount of time to reach the goal, then we know that each month we need to create X amount of blog posts on a specific page, X amount of social signals, X amount of email sends, and so on. In the execution phase, we also make sure that we weave in the customer journey. And that customer journey is going to be not only that we are looking at traffic alone, but we're saying, how do we take that traffic and convert it into leads for you, the client, our client? How do we help you get your clients? And the execution phase is usually going to be not only time segments, like monthly deliverables, but also conversion-focused activities where we map out the journey of your clients, of your visitors, and move them from a phase of "I've never heard of your company" to a phase of "I love your company and I want everybody to know about the company." And achieving that mind shift from a tire kicker to a brand evangelist it doesn't happen automatically, but we plan for it and we weave it into the execution plan so that at the end of the first year we can look back and say, okay, we've started here with your website and your competition was here. You had such and such amount of traffic, such and such amount of ranking, and you had X amount of leads per month. Now this is where we are. You know, after 12 months, you have usually reached your goal and over-delivered by some percentage. You have X amount of leads, and you have a system that is going to attract cold traffic from Google and is going to warm them up stage by stage and turns them into repeat business for you.
Now, WebMaxFormance is not just a Google-centric service. I know from talking to you that you guys also have a lot of emphasis on social search and on social media competition. In other words, with getting a company or a brand out there on social media. Can you take someone who's not acquainted with WebMaxFormance through what that looks like?
Yeah, well, search traffic, Google traffic, is such a big deal that there is an entire industry around it, search engine optimization. And usually you have about, I think it's 3.6 billion searches a day on Google alone, plus Bing, plus Yahoo, plus X amount of other search engines, but they all more or less work the same as Google. They index your website, they figure out how many times you've mentioned this phrase and that phrase, and what's the context, what's the emotional charge of that text. Does that emotional charge match the customer journey stage? So there's a lot of buzz going around Google optimization. There's practically no chatter around the idea of social search or social search optimization. Unfortunately, Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and the others are not as transparent as Google. We know how much traffic Google generates, how much search Google gets per day. We are only guessing that Facebook alone is creating about 2 billion searches a day. And then you have another, I don't know how many million on LinkedIn, and I don't know how many million searches on Twitter, where people go, and this is especially important for local businesses. People usually, strangely enough, use Facebook as a search engine. So they would go on Facebook and search for, I don't know, car detailing on my street. And if your brand is not present on Facebook, and if you don't have quality content that's unique, meaning you're not reposting the same stuff over and over again, you're not really going to get ranked. And you're basically, by not focusing strategically on social search, you're practically giving away a traffic source which is 60% of what Google is creating. From a numbers perspective, it's crazy not to think of social search because it's huge, and yet you have agencies that are just not thinking about it. They're focusing on just rehashing the same things over and over again. It's just best practices that people are doing, and nobody's really bothering to think out of the box creatively and looking at social from a bit of a different perspective.